Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video for the 30-day challenge. We are basically using the ability that we have with money to actually win every match with the SPS, the famous pay to win. Just to show a little bit of what pay to win is, basically. But here we have a lot of matches that I'm going to talk about using the SPS. In my opinion, the best premium aircraft in the game. It just dominates. It's one of the best aircraft in 10.0, and it's just really amazing. As you see, I already got a kill with the A5 with the 23mm, second kill with the F105, and we're going to see a lot of kills in this match. We were kind of outnumbered in this match. As you're going to see, my team kind of died on me, basically. But yeah, when you know how to use the guns, you can do stuff like this and just get away with it because you're paying, basically. So it's interesting that an aircraft like the MiG-21 has R60s, even though it is a very good aircraft in general already, you know. So it has an amazing performance, a very good gun in general, and two amazing missiles, the R60s. I mean, it's just kind of weird that it is a paid aircraft, but it's just such an amazing aircraft. It's the best premium in my opinion, together with the MiG-21S and probably the A5 as well. Especially because the A5 has the magics and the MiG-21S has 4 missiles, and the performance being 9.7, so it is a very capable aircraft in general. But the MiG-21 SPS is just, it has the R60s, you know, so we kind of get 2 guaranteed kills each match. So this is one of the best matches that I had in a while, basically, and especially in this aircraft. So as you're going to see, I'm going to kill a lot of people in this. Make the loop to actually get offensive again. And you have to be careful. I mean, you face a lot of F4Cs, for example, that are not the greatest aircraft in general, especially in dogfights, but they're still pretty good. Has a pretty good cannon and 8 missiles, 8 pretty good missiles for this BR. So you have to be careful, but in a dogfight, as you see, I just dominate the F4. I don't know why he came into a dogfight with me. I mean, look at it. But yeah. So we already had 4 kills, and then we're going to kill every single aircraft in the game. I basically went to the airfield, RTB, and the volume is a little bit lower now because I was hearing some music, and I don't know why my recording thing just started recording the music as well. But yeah, we RTB'd, get more fuel, more ammo. So 3 km shot, pretty safe shot to do in an aircraft that doesn't have flares. So yeah, critical hit, and he's going down. So the ace is there, 5th kill, oh, 6th kill actually. So I think we forgot one of the kills there. But yeah, it's not the end of the battle yet. We have another battle, another kill in this battle. So it's a pretty good aircraft. As you see, I'm doing basically all the heavy lifting of the match alone. And we had another A5 there. And they're not even like bad aircraft that I'm facing. They're pretty good aircraft. But the MiG-21 is just, it has the speed, it has the maneuverability, it has the missiles, and it has the gun to be completely dominate everything, you know. So it is an aircraft that it's hard to actually learn how to use sometimes. But in general, you're going to be safe with it. So if you ask me, what premium should I buy? Matt, you know, like what premium is the best premium to have? A lot of people say that, and I'm kind of a defendant of that position, that you should not just use any premium and just buy any aircraft that you want. And I'm defendant of that opinion, because if you actually, just a pause for this pretty badass kill. I don't think he saw me actually. Yeah, so 7 kills in one match. So yeah, pretty good, right? Amazing aircraft in general, amazing performance, amazing everything. So yeah, I was saying that. So yeah, you have problems with people that just buy aircraft and don't have the experience to fly a jet. So I see a lot of. I mean, I was. We are going to see a lot of. We used to see a lot of German players doing this type of thing, especially when the MiG-15, the German version, was added. We saw that the pilots of the Russian MiGs were far superior pilots than the German ones, the German mains that flew the MiG-15Bs on Germany. But it was just, I mean, imagine you are flying a lot of props and you just start flying very high tier jets for the time. And you get just a little bit of a kind of a taste for an aircraft of jet engines with the HE162 and the 262, but it's nothing compared to the MiG that you're used to, and nothing compared to the MiG that you're going to get, and nothing comparable to the aircraft that you were flying on top tier. So the Russians and the Americans were always better pilots in general, just because they had this ability of actually just using the MiGs and using the F-86 and every aircraft like that before everybody else. So instead, the guy going for the MiG-15 from the MiG-15, the normal one, and from the MiG-9, and using the Yaks, maybe the Yak-15, getting used to the Russian cannons and stuff, you're going straight for a MiG from a 109 basically. So the experience that you need to actually get to top tier playing well, you don't have. You don't have the experience with the cannon. We don't have experience with the performance of the aircraft, the doctrine on designing the aircraft. You have to think that the Russians love those, the MiG especially, that we have a lot of them. Love those light fighters like the MiG-21, the MiG-15, that has not much power, but they are pretty good in general. So in performance, because of the lightweightness of the aircraft. So you have to think about that. But in general, if you're going to buy a premium, you decided that you're going to buy a premium, it's always nice to have a platform that you can be comfortable with, and basically just I mean, most premiums don't have the performance of a very good aircraft, but they have the missiles, for example, like the Yak-38, for example. It's a great example of this, that the performance of the aircraft is complete. It's unbearable aircraft to fly without the missiles, and it's just good at head-ons because it can take like 3 gun pods. But without the missiles, you kinda, it's not good. It's not fast. It doesn't turn. It doesn't do anything. But it has the missiles, so you're not gonna learn anything. You're just gonna fire missiles and get kills, which makes a bad pilot in top tier. You can say that about the Q5 a little bit as well, because it doesn't have very good cannons. The performance is alright, but it's not as good as a MiG or anything like that. And you have just good missiles, and it's you don't have the experience that you need to actually get good with an aircraft. And the Q5 is not, I mean, it's an experience for flying a MiG-19, but the MiG-19 is kind of unique in general. So you're not gonna have the experience to fly high-tier aircraft in general. So the only aircraft that have that are the MiG-21s, in my opinion. The Draken a little bit, the J-35A, but as I said, it's kind of unique as well. The F-5C, for example, can be a very unique aircraft, but it's not gonna show how to fly a high-tier aircraft in general, because the F-5 is a little bit, it's not the greatest aircraft in top tier, the F-5E, for example, but it's just a light aircraft in general and doesn't show what the Americans are good at, which is the F-4s, for example. So yeah, but with the But with the MiG-21s, you can actually have a lot of performance here. So in general, you're going to have a lot of performance and getting used to an aircraft that you're going to fly a lot if you're facing and flying if you're flying the MiGs of Germany or Russia or even Chinese MiGs 21s, you know, the J7. So in general, it's going to give you more advantages using an aircraft like this uh, for a premium because you're going to get used to it. You have the ability to use the missiles. If you're not used to an aircraft, the missiles will get you the points that you need to actually grind. So if you can hit a thing with the cannon or the performance of the aircraft is not good enough for you, you have the missiles, and together with that you have the performance of an aircraft that you, if you fly it correctly, it's a pretty good aircraft in general, one of the best aircraft in the game. So yeah, this is the idea, you know. It's a complete package. It's the most, I mean, I don't like this word a lot, but it's the most pay-to-win aircraft in the game. In my opinion, it's just so easy to fly if you get used to it. The cannons have a very low muzzle velocity, but if you know how to use it at short ranges, it's pretty good. The damage is pretty amazing. And the missiles, as I said, they're amazing. The performance, the speed, it has the maneuverability. You can beat anything in a dogfight, a MatAWG, a J35, anything you can beat in this if you know what you're doing and if you be careful with the enemy that you're facing, because it depends a lot on the enemy that you're facing. Of course, the majority of the players, I mean, you're not facing like 3,000-4,000 kill players every single time, you know. Here you have a situation, F-105, pretty good aircraft, and a MiG-19, but against me, you know, 2v1, and I still managed to get the kill. You're going to see, I'm going to get this kill. So it is pretty amazing in general. It's a pretty good aircraft. So yeah, it's a complete package, you know. So if you ask me what premium should you buy, definitely one of the MiGs, especially the SPS. But the MiG-21S has its own abilities. I mean, it's basically the same aircraft in general, but it has more missiles. Basically, it has more missiles. Not more missiles, because the SPS can also take the R3Rs and the R3Ss. But it's just, the thing is, it's a lower BR. It doesn't have the R13M and doesn't have the R60, but it is a 9.7. So yeah, but in general, you have to think that no matter what, the MiG-21 is always a good base to begin flying Soviet-made aircraft. It's a pretty standard aircraft in the Soviet Air Force and any Soviet allied. So in general, you're going to be good to go. You know, if you think that, oh, but the MiG-21 is not a MiG-23, for example. Yes, but the idea is there. You know, it's the same type of aircraft. In general, it's the same type of aircraft. They're going to be much lighter than the American counterparts. They're going to be much more maneuverable in general. They're kind of light fighters. You're going to see that on the MiG-9, on the MiG-15, on the 17, on the 19, on the 21, the 23, even the 27, the 29 when it comes. And I mean, the only aircraft that are actually different from this, but it has a kind of an aspect like this, is the MiG-25 and the 31 when it's added, if added. Of course, it has the element, the MiG-21, the MiG-23, the 15, 19, every aircraft the MiG made actually has this type of thinking of an interceptor, but the MiG-25, of course, and the 31 are special aircraft for interception, so they're kind of different. But besides those two, every aircraft has the same doctrine, the same way to fly. Vertical dogfights are the most reliable to do it against anything. You're such a light aircraft that you can make everything lose energy faster than you. So yeah, look at this kill. What the hell was he doing? But in general, you know, just it's a very good school to actually learn how to fly a MiG. You know, you're not gonna be facing top tiers, and it's just a very Chad aircraft in general. It's a very, you know, it's just a complete domination basically. You know, you're facing F-100s, and you know, F-4Cs are easy to kill. Everything is easy to kill with this. You have the performance to kill everything. So if you ask me, again, what aircraft do I buy if I want a new premium? If you don't mind, of course, there's always two things. The last thing that I want to talk about is just that there's always two things that you have to consider when buying an actual premium. The first thing is always the aircraft, because you have to have an aircraft that you like to fly. I got the SPS not for grinding because I have everything in Germany, but for actual money grind, and it was an aircraft that I enjoyed. So I always wanted, and I want to buy the MiG-21S as well. It's just that MiG-21s are one of my favorite aircraft in the game, in general, in life, you know. So you're going to see that you need an aircraft that you like to fly. Okay, so don't buy an aircraft just because somebody said, or just because I said. Test it out, see how it performs, look at more videos on how to use them. And yeah, this is the first thing that you have to consider. You have to have interest in the aircraft that you're buying, because you're probably I mean, I don't use real money in the game. I actually sell vehicles and stuff, use the market. But in general, a lot of people use real money. So if you're going to buy with real money, you know, be careful. You know, take a look at the aircraft first. Just don't buy anything, and for no reason, you know. And the second thing that you have to consider, and the last thing that I want to talk about, is obviously the country that you face. You know, of course, if somebody really enjoys Italy, for example, and you want to buy a premium in Italy or France or whatever, it's fine, because it's like me. I like the MiG-21s. I'm going to buy a MiG-21 even if it's in Israel, you know. But you know, you don't have to buy an aircraft just because you like. You need to know that you're going to grind that nation specifically. So one of the main reasons that people buy premiums is to actually grind a nation really easy and really fast, which helps a lot. But you have to be careful, you know. Italy, for example, is not a country that is going to receive top tiers for a while now, and even when they receive, they're not going to be probably the best aircraft out there, because always Soviet Union and the USSR and the USA will receive the best aircraft in general, you know. You're going to see MatAWG F1, for example, but it's taking so much time, for example, that, you know, if you had the MiG-21 and was researching the USSR or Germany, you would had probably a better aircraft than the Mirage will be when it comes out. So you have to think about the country that you want to grind, you know. Always consider the three main nations of the game, Russia, Germany, and USA first, and then of course the UK, Japan, all the other aircraft, and all the other nations after that, if you're looking for a meta aircraft. Okay, so in general, use this. I always consider first buying an aircraft that you like. If you don't have an aircraft that you like, or you like everything but you kind of don't care, try to buy an aircraft that is going to actually help you grind the nation that you want. So think about the main three nations if you don't like a specific nation, and if you like a specific nation, just try to get that one with a premium maybe. But the final opinion that I have is always to not grind like this and actually get everything that the tree has to offer. You get much more fun from it, and you basically learn how to use the type of aircraft that you want to fly in top tier, for example. Of course, the Axis nations, of course, use normally American or Soviet aircraft, but in general, the Allied nations, they have the same doctrine since the beginning of time. So even the USA in the Second World War had kind of the same way of thinking when building a P47 or an F4. I'm not saying that they're the same, of course, but the thinking behind it is the same type of gameplay that you're going to get. Okay, so consider that. Okay, guys, so subscribe to see more. 30-day challenge, 1,000 subscribers. You know what you do. Click the subscribe button, and I see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.